Orc, the bardic paladin, who sings and plays again. He tells the tales of glory and weaves a magic story. He'll join you at your table and ask you to share a fable. Heroes of humble origin, villains who must be fought again. No matter their skill or prowess, the people in life are countless. So we pray you heed our request. Enjoy this tale of sidekicks and side quests.
Episode 139, Zaxibus and the Prickly Pete's Pouring Station. Welcome to Sidekicks and Side Quests, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast that helps to put humans back into humanity and breathe life into your campaign NPCs with backstory and bravado. That's right, we're building a world, one character at a time. I am your host, Kurt Krenwelge, the Bardic Paladin, and I'll be joining Randall Hampton's table in the Levitating Platter. Welcome to another exciting episode of Sidekicks and Side Quests, the best unofficial Dungeons & Dragons podcast, in my humbly biased opinion. I've got an awesome guest for you this week, but before I get to my guest, I have to do it with the first ad read. This episode is brought to you by Plus One EXP and their brand new RPG Zine Club. Zine Club is a monthly membership subscription service featuring fresh zines from emerging and expanding creators across the globe. It's our way of inviting GMs, players, and zine lovers everywhere to invest more intentionally in the creative community. It's crowdsourced support without crowdfunding. So this service offers monthly releases that they put out in two 20 to 44 page saddle stitch zines. 3 different flavors. Take your pick from story zines, adventure zines, and all of the zines. You can pick your format of print and digital, or just get digital only for your favorite titles. Join the Clubhouse Discord section of the Plus One EXP community on Discord. Get the best prices guaranteed from your subscription that you're going to get each month. You get a private subscription portal where you can manage your subscription, add products, or change your information. Change your frequency monthly, every other month, something else. You pick how often you want these new titles to arrive. You only get what you want. And if you miss a month, you can always go back and add a title to your recent month's order. Get an annual surprise each February after your first anniversary. Get access to special content with interviews, how to play videos, special content for Zine Club titles. Get a free pizza if you fill out one of the RPG Zine Club passports or redeem it for a free pizza at events where Tony is present himself. You're going to get access to new and known designers, the best voices from across the RPG design community. And know that Plus One EXP and RPG Zine Club curate their zines based on community interest and feedback to help you discover your new favorite creators. There's a DIE focus because Plus One is committed to championing diversity, inclusion, and equity in their projects. Creators with diverse experiences make our community better. So Zine Club prioritizes creating equity for all of our creators. And it's more than a purchase. Your subscriptions will let us invest more heavily in our print partners and provide them with potentially life-changing support by consolidating scores or hundreds of purchases as the club grows. So, if you want to learn more, I would recommend that you go to the website, rpgzine.club. Again, rpgzine.club. And if you want, go to plus1exp.com. And when you're buying stuff on that site, beard balms or lip balms or beard RPGs or whatnot, and you need a discount code at checkout, be sure to use the code Randolph, RANDOLPH, at checkout and get some savings on your purchase at no extra cost to you. Again, website is plus1exp.com, and the Zine Club website is rpgzine.club. All right, and without further ado, I turn the microphone over to my guest, and I say, hello, mystery contestant. Would you care to introduce us? Tell us who it is that you are, and what is it that you do?
Hey, good evening, good morning, whatever time zone you're in. My name is Randall Hampton. I am the author and illustrator of the Little Game Master series of children's books and the Emmy nominated creator of Little Game Masters, which is a TTRPG built for kids age 5 and up.
Ooh, okay. Well, I've got a 3-year-old, so this is a very fortuitous interview indeed. So I may get the
Yeah,
inside skinny to learn how to run games for my son.
absolutely.
Yeah, and so we were talking before we rolled we rolled the cameras, we turned on the microphones is what we did. We didn't roll microphones around. But yeah, we were saying, "Oh, we both know each other because Jordan, our good friend of the podcast, Jordan put us in touch with one another." And yeah, can you tell us
Yeah.
more about this little game masters? I hear it's won some awards. It's done pretty well for itself.
It's doing pretty well. It hasn't won any awards yet. It has been nominated for. It was
Ah.
nominated for Best Family Game of 2024 at this year's
Okay.
Emmys. There at Gen Con, which is a huge honor. It was a lot of fun being down there for that and being able to interact with the other nominees and seeing the people that are these great creators and designers and all in this one room. So being able to sit down and talk with those people and kind of mince words about what we do for a living and how we dive into these passion projects of ours is a lot of fun. Little Game Masters, like I said, it is a TTRPG built for kids ages 5 and up. I am a father of three. I have three children myself, and when my youngest son was born, this was back in 2017. My oldest found my dice bag. Now, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for well over 20 years now, and shoot, it might be closer to 30 years now. And but so I have a nice sturdy collection of dice. When my son found the dice bag, he asked me, what is this for? And it's a big question because it's more than just rolling probabilities and trying to see what numbers come up. These math rocks, these dice, these funny shaped little geodes, they tell stories. So I wanted a way to describe to my children or to tell my children what it is we're doing when we sit down at the table and we're rolling dice and we're talking in funny voices and we're scribbling furiously on our notepads. And so at that point, I started writing a children's book, a children's picture book to introduce my kids to what tabletop role playing games are all about. And that's where the Little Game Master children's book series came. There are two books in that series. The first book is very much a group of friends get together. They make characters. They go on their first adventure, and there's a nice little moral at the end. Whenever I try to describe what the Little Game Master is, it is quite literally Dr. Seuss meets Dungeons and Dragons. That's the best
Ooh.
way to describe it. And then the second book, The Little Game Master of Bards and Bullies, is kind of a continuation. Think of it kind of like session two. They go
Okay.
on their next adventure. And so it's continued. And session three, the third book in the series, is also in the works right now. So that'll be The Little Game Master Don't Split the Party.
Ooh.
That'll
Okay.
be the third book in the series, and that's coming. That's coming soon. We've got a couple other things that we're working
Just
on.
in time for Christmas? Question
Not
mark?
even, not even close. No.
Ah.
Uh, but this year, for Christmas, we do have physical copies in hand of Little Game Masters, the tabletop role playing game that's built for kids. Years of going to conventions and selling the children's books, people always ask, "Is this a game? Is this something that I can play with my kids?" And I was like, "No, I've been looking at that. I've been toying with that idea, but no, these are just children's picture books. They're a fun way for real little kids to kind of get along with what's going on at the table." So I sat down and I started noodling some ideas on how can I take I'm very much a D&D guy. Like I
Mm.
grew up on D&D. Like I started with advanced D&D, went on to second edition, went on to 3 and 3.5. I skipped fourth edition came back for 5e. And so I'm very much, if I'm not home brewing an entire system myself, or one of
Mhm.
my friends is running a game and they're home brewing everything, it's basically D&D is what I did. So I wanted to find a way to get the idea of what a traditional Dungeons and Dragons campaign would be, but simplify it for kids. You know,
Okay.
minimize the choices so that they're not overwhelmed. Make it very fun, very light, very full of levity, so that they can sit down at the table, start playing immediately, and then the way we wrote our adventures, go through an adventure in about an hour or less. Because if you try and play a game with a 5-year-old for any longer than that, you might find some hurdles.
Right. Well, my son got to play his first official D&D game this past Halloween, which coincidentally was my 14th anniversary of ever having played D&D,
Okay.
where I got my start with 4th edition. So I know you were like, "Oh, I just skipped 4th." I was like, "I don't know. I kind of started on 4th and I thought it was pretty all right." And then rolling into 5th, I was like, "Oh, this is easy and this is cool. I like this." So,
And there's nothing wrong with fourth edition. Like it is all about taste. It is all about what you love. And like there's a part of me that loves the crunchiness of fourth edition. There's
mhm.
a part of me that loves it. I love rolling the dice as much as possible. I know some people will say, "Oh, that just bogs down the game," blah blah blah. He's like, "Yeah, but it's fun."
Yeah. Yeah,
So
so we managed about 15 minutes, I think, was along. His mom ran it, and it was 15 minutes, and it was all the hollow dragon had captured all the Halloween candy. So we did various activities. So like we went to the vampire's house, and so like the vampire wanted us to do something. We went to the zombie's house, and so we had to eat like a brain cupcake. We went to the mummy's house. We had to wrap one of his stuffed dragons in toilet paper to like re-secure the bandages. And everyone we
that's
did
amazing.
gave us like a little bonus item, and it was very simplified combat where we each were rolling
Yeah.
d20s to see like, do we hit the dragon and do we do enough
Yep.
damage. And we each got down to about half of our 6 hit points that we had, and the dragon had like way more than us, but eventually
Yep.
we felled the dragon, we saved all the Halloween candy, and everyone was all right with the
Yep.
world.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about taking the systems that we know and love and making them accessible
Yeah.
for the young players. With little game masters, it's nice because there's a few things that we did. First and foremost, we use like a heart system, very much like Legend of Zelda. Through the Kickstarter, we did a Kickstarter for the game, and one of the stretch goals was adding on more characters, pre-generated characters. So we have 12 characters that come with the game straight out of the box, ready to play with. Each
Cool.
character has 4 unique actions that they can do in combat, and some of the
Mhm.
things, I mean, use your imagination, use those actions however you want. Um, with the way we decided to do it was, instead of having big, bold, big, long character sheets, we have character cards. So think of
Mm.
them as like a jumbo size, index card, with big bright picture of your character, a little their name and what kind of class they are up the top. Their
Mhm.
health is on there, and then on the bottom, they got their combat actions written out for you. For the kids that are old enough that can read through all the descriptions of the actions, awesome. We love that. We encourage it. It's amazing to see. For the younger kids, on the back of the card, we illustrated all of the combat actions.
Very
So
cool.
for the young kids, they can look at the backside and just say, "Oh, I want to do that," or "Oh, I want to do that," just to make it as accessible as possible.
There we go. This is exciting learning about this. Like I'm like thinking like, man, yeah, no, I think I need to add this to the Christmas list for the little kiddo. Like this may
Absolutely,
be
it is ready to go.
it's ready to go. Excellent. Not intentional to be the kind of well, let's see. Hopefully if I have all my gears together, this should be coming out the day before Thanksgiving. So, hey, your Black
There we go.
Friday shopping, your Cyber Monday shopping, you should go,
Let's
check
go.
check them out,
Yeah.
help them out. Yeah.
Forget Amazon. Just come on over to randallhamptonart.com. Pick up your game. It's
Yeah, support local business, small business too. Yeah.
I have a Black Friday sale too. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I'm sure I will.
Something to do with the color black and it's on a Friday.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, as we're working our way through the questions, it seems like we kind of, in you explaining how, Little Game Masters works, you kind of provided some of your credentials because I always like to kind of get an idea of like, well, have you currently or have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons before? So I know
Yeah.
you stated like, oh, you've been with it since advance. So like, I don't know, any
I
more you can
started
kind of speak to that of your experience
Yeah,
with it.
I started playing when I was a real little kid, and I wouldn't even say that it was a full on like a game or campaign, but I remember sitting down with my aunt and uncle and flipping through their AD&D books and like going through the monster manual and just like loving the pictures and reading about the monsters and stuff. And I remember I was driving. I think I was spending the week with them during the summer one summer with them and my cousins, and we were hanging out there. And then they were bringing me home. And on the
Mhm.
way home, we had our first like adventure in the car, and it was
Ooh.
literally my aunt up in the front seat and describing things and say, okay, well, what do you want to do now, and how do you want to do this, and how do you want to do that, and me knowing what my character was, oh, I'd do that kind of thing. So that was
Mhm.
my first taste of it, and it was fun, and it was exciting. And being a kid that grew up with like the original Final Fantasy on NES,
Mm.
like that was, like I remember like there was so much familiarity between the two, and
Mhm.
I instantly loved it. And later on, like in middle school and then into high school, I had a one of my best friends was our forever DM, and he was always like, "Hey guys, let's try this." And I remember him running uh, uh, ran just a regular like high fantasy campaign, but then he did a Ravenloft campaign, and it wasn't even
Ooh.
Curse of Strahd at that point. It was
Right.
Ravenloft.
Right. Right. Right.
So, and dipping my toe into like for my first real sense of like horror with him, like that was a lot of fun. And then through high school, through college, and then after college, I remember that same person decided to run a game. Like it was like 7 years after we'd all graduated high school or something. And he was like, "Hey, I want to get some of our old friends back together and play again. I've created this idea. Do you guys want to come play?" And there was like five of us that all went to high school together. It was like a high school reunion monthly, getting
Mhm.
together and and that game ran for 7 years, 5 years,
Wow.
7 years after that, and it was just constantly playing. And then he's like, you know what, we're getting busy with work. Everyone's starting to adult. We got to hang it up. So that campaign ended. And then I think at that point, that was right around 2015 or so. And I
Mhm.
had just started watching Critical Role.
Mm.
And then watching Critical Role, and like I started watching Critical Role when they were right around their like the Conclave arc, with the
Okay.
dragons and stuff. And I was like, so campaign one, with Vox
Right.
Machina, and so but I'm watching that and seeing the joy and the excitement that they had playing. I was like, gosh, I want to play again. It had been a few years since we'd played, and I was like, I want to play again. So I called up that crew and I was like, hey guys, my friend Adam, I was like, I know you don't want to be the DM. How about I run a game? And so
Mm.
we got back into, and then it's been back and forth and doing that ever since. So it's been a constant thing, and I love it. And now I get to play with my kids, which is a lot of fun. And it's different because like when you sit down with your friends as an adult and play a tabletop game, it's there's more mature themes, and there's some things that can happen at the table that you would obviously never want your kids involved with.
Mhm.
But when you sit down at a table with kids, the sheer chaos that happens is so delightful, because their response to any problem, you have no idea where it's going to come from. So it's delightful, and I encourage it as much as possible. If you're a parent that plays D&D and you haven't yet tried playing with your kids, it can be so fun and it can be so rewarding. And I really encourage it. Like having we the first time we tried playing with my kids, I didn't have the game yet. And so I
Mhm.
tried playing, like I took 5e and I just slimmed it down as much as I could with the regular character sheets, and I would talk them through everything a bunch. And then I was like, this is great, but it's just too much.
Mhm.
And that kind of fed, and that also helped kind of build and feed the fire to really get the game up and running.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like, I've told other podcast guests on these episodes, like, I'm not above plugging other things in the middle of my podcast. So if you haven't checked out the Kids Table D&D on Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that, I think you'd quite enjoy them. And they've also been doing a series called Area of Effect, where it's kind of like an interview show where they talk to other adults, that work with kids. So I feel like little game masters would be a slam dunk home run out of
Sure.
the park with them. So certainly, yeah, make sure you guys are all talking and
Yeah, absolutely.
exchanging ideas and all that. So
Before we go any further, I gotta shout out a couple of people. There were a bunch of people that were involved with creating Little Game Masters with me, and I
yeah,
gotta give a little bit of credit where credit's due.
sure.
First and foremost, Adam Johns, one of the founders of Game to Grow. He was instrumental in helping me balance things. So I want to give him a lot of love. He was so generous with his time and so patient with me because I had so many questions. So he was a delight. But people like Connor Napier also helped with all the layout and design work and some of the play testing and things like that. That just was pivotal to making sure that it was a good game and that it worked with kids. And then as part of the Kickstarter, I got to work with some of the best people in the community as well. We did a 9-chapter adventure book, like your first campaign that you can play with your kids. And then people like Lauren Urban and B. Dave Walters, Megan Connell, and Hunter Fell and Devin Schulich all wrote, and Connor also all wrote chapters for this book. So these heavy hitters in the D&D community that are just amazing talents came in. They're like, for the kids, absolutely. Let's make a great story.
Yeah.
So I want to shout these people out because they're a delight to work with, and they've been such an amazing representation here in our community. And the fact that they were willing to work with me on this it's unbelievably humbling, first and foremost. And it was a real pleasure to be able to do that. So I want to shout them out. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, of course. We love that here. We love spreading the love and the kudos and all that. So perfect. Well, as you know, this podcast happens to be called Sidekicks and Side Quests. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you who happens to be your favorite NPC or sidekick character, whether they be from an RPG, video game, movie, film, television, literature, etc. And why is this character your favorite sidekick or NPC?
Like I said before, I've been playing like RPGs and stuff since I was a little kid, like going way back to original NES days and Final Fantasy and stuff. And through the Final Fantasy series and the different series and all that, there have been amazing characters um, that have come up and grab you in those games or grab you. Even in my home tabletop games, there have been some amazing ones. But there's one that has stood out for me for it's been a few years now since he's done this little guest spot. But Darren DePaul came on to Critical Role. I think it was it campaign 1 or campaign 2?
It was campaign 1 because
It was
he
campaign
he
1.
shows up near the end when they're starting to figure
Yeah,
out, the knowing
the
mistress
Vecna
and stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Darren DePaul came on and he created this little character called Sprig, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
And listening to him, and I don't know necessarily if I don't know what it was. It was just there was something magical in the way that Darren did the voice of that character and how they interacted with the other people at the table. And it was just a joy to watch. It's one of those moments, like as a person that in my past, I've done theater, I've done music, and I've done, these things, these aspects of storytelling that we can kind of jump into and be a part of. When you have a moment like that, where that one little character can just shine so bright, like he wasn't even there, but maybe 2 episodes, right?
Mhm.
But it was just so memorable. I loved it. It was just, I don't know what it was. It's just something about that one the little character Sprig just spoke to me. and it was just a pure delight to listen and to watch and to experience.
There we go. Good answer, I would say. I think all the answers are good, and the point of it is to showcase and show the wider world like all the cool people that inhabit it. So Sprig, love them. And then let's see the coin flip, the other side of the equation. What happens to be one of your favorite side quests, whether it be
Oh
from
gosh.
an RPG, video game, movie, film, television, literature, B plot element in a film or play, whatever. But why is this your favorite side quest or B plot element?
I'm gonna say I just recently rewatched Andor,
Mm.
and I loved Andor. Like that was
Yes.
like of all the Star Wars stuff that has come out recently, it's my absolute favorite. And that was 2 years ago, I think. Andor was two
Yeah.
years ago, something like that. The point with Andy Serkis in the
Hmm.
manufacturing facility, the prison,
Yes.
that little sub arc, I loved it. I loved it
Yes.
so much. I don't know, like it's just an amazing um little moment in Andor's story where he's picked up for no reason, put into like basically an internment camp, forced to do labor for the Empire, and it really, like, despite the fact that he had worked with rebels, he never really, his heart wasn't in, his heart wasn't there yet.
Right.
But as soon as he was put there, and as soon as he saw what the Empire was, it was that moment that juiced him. But then like seeing him convince Andy Serkis's character um, of what was going on, is like, listen, this is your opportunity. Take it. There's one way out.
Yeah.
So that was a great little subplot for that show. I really enjoyed that.
And just how, I mean, I know they're coming out with Andor 2, season 2.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
after that whole arc, just kind of like the irony of it in the fact that they were manufacturing parts for the Death Star. And at
Mm-hmm.
the end of Rogue One, the movie, what's the thing that
They,
kills Andor
yeah,
is the thing that
yeah.
he helped to build.
He helped to build it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Juicy stuff.
Yeah. No, there, like, that's the thing. Like there have been, like, I grew up with Star Wars too, and I was always a fan of Star Wars. Like there are properties that just will always live rent free in my head. Things, like
Mhm.
Star Wars is always going to be there. Indiana Jones is always going to be there, except for Crystal Skull. Forget that, but whatever.
Oh. So I take it then you haven't seen the new Dial M for
I
Destiny or
have,
whatever.
I have seen the Dial of Destiny, and I enjoyed it. I did.
Okay, okay,
Is
all
it my
right.
favorite? No, it's not my
Mm,
favorite, but I enjoyed it.
okay.
It's fun. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it more than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But Star Wars absolutely lives rent free, and these some of these newer additions to the lore and to the story, and people that are so excited about this property, and like building on this world. It's one of
Mhm.
those things where, as creators, we always want to be involved in the things that we love. I don't know that, I mean, like, if I had the opportunity to tell a Star Wars tale, oh God, I would jump at it immediately. I would love to. I would love to get my fingers in there. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I want to tell us. I want to tell the Star Killer story with Sam Witwer. I want to find a way to get that done. Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, I know what game you're talking about, but that's one I've never played because I think it was on a
Yeah.
GameCube or something, and I didn't have a GameCube.
You can get it on Steam. It's fine.
Oh, okay, I can get on Steam. See, yeah, no, if you asked me to make a Star Wars story, it would be because I've been so blown away by the Mandalorian and in the Book of
Yeah.
Boba Fett and stuff like that. Just the more, since the Jedi sort of have this quasi sort of inspiration from like the more Eastern philosophical
Hmm.
religious traditions, to see something so starkly like Western, and for me as a
Wild
Catholic,
West. Yeah.
as for me as a Catholic, seeing like these guys are acting like this is the way, like very like, oh, like this is something that resonates with me. Like I want to see the Mandalorian stories, like especially where they've left it. It's like,
Yeah.
I know they kind of left it open as like, oh, why they weren't involved in the sequel trilogy. So it's like, okay, well, I want to see that story of them like rebuilding their great Mandalorian empire or their nation,
Sure.
their planet, and then see them like, all right, whatever the universe has got to throw at us, we'll just, we'll conquer it or do whatever we have to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've enjoyed Mandalorian as well. Again, like the tone of that series has been great. Like you said,
Yes.
it's got very much that spaghetti western, very what's the word? Just a wild, kind of wild west feel to it. Like it's just shoot first, ask questions later.
Right.
I can bring you in cold, I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold, kind of thing. It's
Right.
just it's great.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed that very much too.
Indeed. And the way that we end or round out the personal section of the podcast, Mr. Randall, what are you passionate about and why?
I'm passionate about a great many things. I'm passionate about storytelling. I love in whatever form it may be. I'm a trained artist, so I create illustrations for myself, for my work, for the books that I draw, the books that I write, for other people's literature I've illustrated. I illustrate for other people here in the D&D community. I've done character illustrations for countless people, and I enjoy every single one of them. It could be the absolute worst character, like terrible character idea you've ever heard in your life, but finding a way to bring them to life in a way that means something to the player
Mm-hmm.
is great. But that's all storytelling to me. That's another form of storytelling. So I love that. Music. I've been a singer, songwriter, instrumentalist for a long time. Love it. Can't get enough of that. And then I live in Michigan. I'm a graduate of Michigan State University. Basketball season is upon us. And so I'm going crazy right now, loving every minute of college basketball.
There we go. Yeah, no, it sounds like we are brothers apart in time. I mean, maybe not so much me with sports, but definitely with music and art and creativity and all that. No, I love it. And I if you're ever looking for characters, you're like, my hands are feeling itchy and I don't know what character to draw. We've got like 138 episodes, I think, at this point. So, there's a number of characters here that are just waiting for illustrations.
There you go. We can work something out.
Yeah, there we go. And all right, well, it's been marvelous learning more about the man, the myth, the legend. That now it's time to head into some NPC creation.
This will be fun.
And NPC creation is brought to you by you, the podcast audience, and our patrons from Patreon. So now is the time in the show where we give a loud shout out, a hurrah to all of our great supporters. So to you, our queen of the Patreon, Katie Downey, aka Goblin Katie, R.I.P. Stella, best dog, as well as our other wealthy tier patrons, Ansi Jablinski and good old mom and dad Krenwelgi. We say cheers. I happen to have a bottle of Shiner Dunkelweizen for the holidays, so they don't sponsor me, but Shiner, if you want to give me money, you're more than welcome to. So cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. So yeah, all these folks donate $4 a month, so that means they get to introduce an element of chance to our random tables that we have. So if Mr. Randall or any of our guests are feeling the itch and they want to roll some dice, well, they get to introduce a variable of chaos for our tables that our guests get to use.
Gosh, now I feel like I have to.
If you want to learn more about our Patreon community and what we've got to offer, just go to the show notes below, go to the podcast website, or just go directly to patreon.com/sidekicks and sidequests to learn about our accommodations that we have awaiting for you. Help us to grow and expand our operations in this demi-plane and worlds beyond. So, all right. So we are here now at the, aforementioned NPC creation section of the show. So, the question I have for you today, Mr. Randall, is what kind of character are we making today? Is this someone that you're bringing to us? Are we randomly rolling the dice, doing a bit of both, or what are we doing today?
I'm so torn now because the character that I had, I have a character that I wanted to bring that I thought would just be an amazing addition for you. But in truth, this character was created using nothing but RNG. Little backstory: I was doing a game with some friends during COVID. When COVID like locked us all down,
Yeah.
I got into a Zoom chat with a couple of my friends. We started a game, and everything was absolutely random generated. It was RNGesus take the wheel. Like let us know, like roll the dice, that's what you get.
Yeah.
And that's how I got this character technically. But
Right.
the idea of doing it again speaks to me so much. But no, we'll use the one that I have. We'll use the one I have because it's here and it's amazing, and I'm proud of him, and he's a lot of fun.
Okay then. All right. Well, I'll just leave that fruit dangling that if
It's
we get to a question and you're like, yeah, let's just randomize it, then
let's
I've
roll
got the
that. Yeah.
tables. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. We can do that if we need to. Okay.
Perfect. So the first question we have here then is what's the name of the character?
Today I bring you his name is Zaxibus.
Zaxidus. How do I spell that?
Zaxibus. Zaxibus.
Ah,
Zaxibus. Zaxi for short. If you know him. And it's like Cher, there is no last name. It is just Zaxibus.
just Zaxibus. Perfect. All right. I'm already intrigued. Let's see the next question we have here. What is the ancestry of this character?
Zaxibus, as determined by the random table I rolled on previously, is a human.
Ooh, okay. Human. We like humans. Not enough of them.
He is a
Uh,
human, yeah.
sometimes, sometimes in our games, it's like we got elves and dwarves and all these things. And it's like, oh yeah, there's humans too. I guess we got to have
There
humans.
are still humans, yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. And then let's see. What is the job or role in society for Zaxibus?
So Zaxibus is a former adventurer. He did spend a few years of his life out on the trails, delving dungeons and righting wrongs and things like that. Um, uh, he is not he is well versed in the wizard arts. He's a spell slinger, if you will.
Okay.
That's in another life. Today, he is the part owner and proprietor of Prickly Pete's Pouring Station. Prickly
Okay.
Pete's Pouring Station is an inn tavern located in Seashell Town, which is a small port city on the southern coast of a little island called Urist's Folly. And it's a nice little town. It's got its little feudalist system. It's got lords and things like that. But he was able, with a few of his friends, his adventuring partners, they were able to set up a brewery and inn station. So he's got a nice little living there in Seashell Town.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, he kind of sounds like this podcast's own Randolph, who is the proprietor of the levitating platter. Um, he's a former arch wizard who eventually became a tavern keeper. So it's a good theme. Is there anything magical or special about Prickly Pete's, or is it just like, oh, I just happen
Uh,
to be a former adventurer, and this is just a
you
regular
know,
building?
there's a couple of things. First and foremost, they pride themselves on their vertical integration. All right, they have been working with local granaries and local farmers to make sure that their barley and their hops farms are all locally sourced. It's all just like top choice materials for their beers, for their
Okay.
brews. I believe Zaxibus famous his favorite brew that is created there is My Love is Imperial, but it's stout. Um, that's that's his favorite beer that they have there. Yeah, it's no, it's a wonderful place. They have their own mug club that you can join.
Ooh.
So that's a nice little bonus as well.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Uh, Yeah, because part of the meta narrative of this podcast, as well as like the real life inspiration for my podcast, is I to my knowledge, I don't know if the Flying Saucer has any chains out there in Michigan. But there's a beer emporium chain here. Uh, I think mostly like in the southern United States or just kind of spread out. It's called the Flying Saucer. And so
Okay.
their whole thing is like, oh, you go there, you can sample different beers, you join the UFO club. Every 200 beers you drink, different kinds of beer you drink, you get to put a plate up on the wall. I have my plate right somewhere around here before COVID happened and all that good stuff. So naturally, because my group started playing fifth edition, I was like, oh, we need a tavern to meet in. We'll meet in the levitating platter. It's kind of like a flying
There you go.
saucer. And then
There you go.
instead of Gandalf, you have Randolph. And
Of
then
course.
that's how he's born. And it wasn't until the podcast started that I figured out that Randolph just simply has a magnificent mansion spell. And then when you step inside, it's invisible servants carrying platters
Yeah.
around, and that's why all the
Just platters
platters
of beer.
levitate. Yeah, platters of beer, whatever
Amazing.
food you need. Yeah. So
Amazing. Wonderful.
yeah, so if Zaxibus ever has plans to like take more shares of Prickly Pete's, he could perhaps overhaul with some more magic or something like that.
Oh,
Automation.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, so it's the party that created Prickly Pete's. It is Zaxibus, a human, and then three dwarves,
Ah.
and and Prickly Pete's. And I can send you the logo for Prickly Pete's
Ooh.
because Prickly Pete's is the pub that we started in our game, and
Mhm.
because we did that in our game, and because I'm a graphic designer and illustrator, I made a logo and then made T-shirts for us that play in the game for our bar. So I'll have to show that to you at some point.
There
But
we
yes,
go.
Prickly Pete's is named after a wonderful little horse that saved our bacon a couple times.
Ooh. Man, the stories. I just can't wait, like
It's
to just
amazing.
be a fly on the wall in that bar and hear all the stories about this mythic horse that saved them all
Yeah.
in their time of
Oh,
need.
Prickly Pete is still around,
Oh,
and
he's
he
still
lives in a
around.
little stable right outside the bar. Yes, we bought him.
Does he get to come into the bar and drink and then people say, "Hey buddy, why the
He
long face?"
he has his own mug. Absolutely, he's a part of the mug club. He is a member for life.
He's the president. I'm not only
He's
a
the
member.
president of that mug club.
Because what is it they used to say, the hair club for men, and it was like,
I'm
I'm
not
not
only a
only
member, the
president, I'm
president.
the
I'm also
member.
a member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So we know that Zaxibus is this former adventurer who now is a part owner of this awesome
Yeah.
tavern with a horse. That's like that has this horse must have like the folk hero background or something that like
It
people it's
absolutely
like little
does. He has his
Sebastian or something
own.
like that.
Oh, he has his own folklore about him for sure.
Okay. And then let's see. The next question would be, how old is Zaxibus? Like, what's if you have an exact number, or is there like an age range sort of that he
At
fits in?
at this time, Zaxibus is probably in his mid to late 30s.
Mid to
He's
late
probably
30s.
around like 36, 38, something like
Ooh.
that.
Okay. Well, fun fact: 36 is me. So basically, it's
Okay.
like you're talking to Zaxibus.
And I'm talking to Zaxibus right now.
Yeah. There we go. Perfect. So now that we've got like those first details figured out for the character, I always like, and speaking to you, an illustrator, probably you've already got artwork done of Zaxibus, but can you describe to us the physical appearance of Zaxibus, this
Sure.
human wizard?
Yeah. Zaxibus is he's about 6'1". He's fairly tall. He
Hmm.
has some sandy blonde hair. It's a little bushy, getting a little overgrown. But he has a very neat trimmed beard. It doesn't get too long and scraggly. It's pretty kept close. He wears a very bright yellow cloak that is trimmed with red piping.
Hmm.
And he has very thick, worn brown leather gloves that have seen. He's not afraid to work with his hands.
Hmm.
But if you look, if the sleeves of his tunic kind of cover up the cuff of the gloves. But if you pull them back, you'll see just this ornate runic writing scrawled around the cuffs of the gloves as well.
Ooh. Okay. I was gonna say, is there anything magical about any of his attire with this cloak and these gloves and such?
The cloak is just for show. It may be enchanted to billow slightly,
Ah,
but nothing other than that. No. The
okay.
gloves are more of they allow him to do things with a little extra flair.
Hmm.
So when he casts any of his spells, it gives like a little oomph, little zhuzh. It doesn't really. It gives a bonus to his spell casting modifier. But other than that, just a +1 bonus to his spell casting modifier. But other than that, nothing real ornate. So instead of a +6 based on proficiency and whatever, it goes up to a +7. That kind of
Ooh.
thing.
Okay. Okay. See, you started describing the cloak, and I thought like, oh, is this like a reverse Tom Bombadil or something like that, where we're inverting all the colors and stuff like that?
No, nothing like that.
Okay. Perfect. And then, okay, so we've got an idea of the physical appearance of a Zaxibus. And then the way for, obviously we want to be able to use Zaxibus in our games. So for like role playing
Sure.
purposes to help dungeon masters to be able to like get an idea of Zaxibus, we always like to narrow down, 3 adjectives that would describe Zaxibus as a character. What 3 adjectives would you
Sure.
use?
Sure. I would say well read for sure. He as a wizard, he spends a lot of time just looking through books and scrolls and things like that. Well read is definitely there. Um, he's a little quick tempered. He's a little
Mm.
quick tempered. He can get a little bit of a short fuse. And then the last thing I would probably say is fireball.
I jumped in my seat. Wow. Okay, so just he's very quick to use that spell to solve his
Yeah,
problems.
he will absolutely he yeah. There have been a couple of times in his adventuring past where he definitely shot first and asked questions later.
Ah, he took the Han Solo
Yeah,
approach.
yeah, very much. He very much shoots first.
I
Absolutely.
was gonna say with the fireball as so much of a adjective description of the character. No bards have come into the tavern and played his song and like pointed to him, and then he just shouts fireball, and then the band's still
No.
playing, but then like an explosion goes off or something.
No, he definitely will use thaumaturgy from time to time, though, just to let off little sparks of pyrotechnics for whatever band is playing.
Ah, okay.
He absolutely supports the arts.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. So he doesn't have to worry about the famous bard Pitbull coming into his place and demanding that he just shoot fireballs off at different points in the song or the music. So good to know.
You know, the nice part about living in Seashell Town is we're right on the port. The brewery is right down by the docks. So we could
Hmm.
actually just go right off into our little deck area and just launch them out off over the ocean anytime we want. It'd be great.
Ooh, okay. So yeah, so fireworks. It's like okay, you guys want okay.
Seasonal, but
Ah,
yes, we can do that.
okay. All right. So we've got we're learning a lot about Zaxibus. And so we come to the question, because we always like our characters to have something cool on their person that makes them unique and stand out. So what's a valuable item, piece of lore, secret, or ideal or concept that the character would possess? Now, sometimes people bring in their own characters or they're basing it off something else. So sometimes they may have a couple of more things, but if you're wanting to like just narrow it down to something, we do have this is the one we do the combo roll of where people get to roll 2 dice for this table in particular.
I have one thing, but I kind of want to roll something just for fun.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Just because we're here and we're doing it, let's go ahead and roll something. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna grab my box of dice here.
There we go. Yeah. So for the
And then I will roll something.
for the valuables category, we roll a D4 first for the category, and then a D6 for the particular thing.
Okay. All right, I'm here for it. All right, so D4 first. And it's a 3.
3 is going to be a secret.
Ooh, it's a secret.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah, and then we roll a D6, and we're going to figure out what kind of random secret he has.
It's a 4.
4. Okay. Well, your answer was provided by previous guest of the podcast, Benjamin Huffman, aka one half of the Dispel Magic podcast, and he's also known as the Sterling Vermin Adventuring Company, his own game designer in his own right.
Okay.
So Zaxibus is in love with a party member. So, like, whenever you meet Zaxibus, there's a potential that, Zaxibus finds one of the party members rather fetching and keeps that secret.
It's possible.
Hey, he's a 36-year-old guy. He's settled down. He's ready. He was ready to love.
He's a little bit amorous. He is. He's not shy to speaking sweet nothings.
Do those sweet nothings get people discounts at the bar or not?
I mean, you maybe a discount on a membership to the mug club, maybe.
Okay, we'll see. Is it a pretty expensive mug club to get into?
It's not terrible, but you can get them. You get a personalized stein, handcrafted by the elves up in Iuatomera, which is one of the towns on Urus Folly. It's a great little place. But they do great, very, very skilled scrawling and delicate inlay work. So the steins are amazing. They're beautiful. They're not cheap. I'm not going to lie. They're not cheap.
Like, how expensive are we talking?
I think Mug Club membership. I'm trying to remember what it was we charged. We actually had, this is like side note from our campaign. We had one member of our group. So it's like me, an art major. And then the other 4 people that that played in this game were all business majors. So we had we had one person that actually wrote up a business plan for the bar. It was a 26-page business plan that was a legit, like, here's what we're going to do. This is where we're going to get our materials. This is how much it's going to cost. This is what we can expect to see. And I looked at it. Wow. Okay, let's start a bar. No, yeah, I think it's something like 10 gold per month or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So like 120 gold for the year, 100 gold for the year is what the bonus was. You only had to, or something like that. I don't know what it was, but I mean, to have like a personalized stein in a bar, 100 gold.
And it was only your stein. No one else could use
stein. That is your stein. It has your name on it.
And did this mug club come with any other benefits that came along with it?
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, there's no extra benefits. You still have to pay for your beer.
Oh.
Okay. But you get a cool mug. And the mug is up on the wall and it's there.
Ooh.
But I'm the partial owner. I still want to make money. So yes, you still have to pay for your beer.
I see. Well, I suppose in that my DM brain sort of working, like, depending on the where this is in your world, and you go to Prickly Pete's, and if you're looking for someone, you're like, is their mug still up on the wall? It's like, oh, no, their mug is down. That means they're here in the bar somewhere. We can go find them. Or like, oh no, the mug's still up on the wall. Like, they haven't checked in a while.
Great little note. Heck yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. All right, very cool. So we know that his Zaxibus is in love with one member of your party. DM to figure that out and deploy that in a good way.
Good luck. Good luck, because he's insufferable. It's gonna be a problem for someone.
Don't worry, I can fix him. That's what they all say. And then let's see. Then the next thing we need to figure out. Obviously, we want all of our NPCs to be able to give side quests, have the little yellow exclamation point above their head when you encounter them.
Yeah.
So, what is a particular quest that Zaxibus would be willing to recruit or hire player characters to go and do? And if you need help, we got the D12 you can roll.
This one I have ready for you.
Okay.
So Zaxibus, in one of his adventures, he traveled deep into the forests of the northern part of Urus Folly. Now, it's not a small island. Like Urus Folly, it's a good size island. You know, it's, I mean, we're thinking like New Zealand
Okay.
size, you know, Madagascar size. It's a good size island.
Yeah.
So in the northern part of Urus Folly was a giant goblin stronghold. And this stronghold was massive, and there were hundreds and hundreds of goblins. They'd all congregated there, and they bred and just built up their forces. And at one point, Zaxibus and his followers had to make their way to this stronghold, and they had to break their way in, and they had to basically put an end to the threat that these goblins were posing towards the people of Urus Folly. Now, on this trip to this stronghold, a very dear friend of Zaxibus fell during battle,
Mm.
and a memento of this friend was left behind. This is it's a piece of jewelry that's a necklace that the friend wore and wore with him wherever he went. And it was left behind in this stronghold, and he wants you to go back. And he wants you to find it and bring it back to him.
Okay. So, no big deal. You just have to storm this major goblin stronghold.
Now, to be clear, we cleared it out once. What it looks like now, I'm not so sure.
Oh,
But
yeah.
at one point, it had been cleared.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like however you take your approach with goblins with their generational clocks with how fast they're able to repopulate their numbers.
Yeah. Now, Zaxibus is not going to tell you what this necklace looks like. He's just going to say, you know what? You'll know it when you see it. It's on a gold chain, but other than that, he doesn't tell you anything else. Now, as players, we hear that and we're like, okay, that's interesting. So we just got to keep our eye out for something kind of unique and special, and that's great. That's fine. DM to DM, it's a necklace of goblin ears, and this friend that he had, anytime he killed a goblin, he would rip their ears off and he would put it on that necklace. He had a bad thing with goblins. But that's just kind of the thing that they have to understand is they're going to come across a gold chain with nothing but goblin ears on it. And it's going to be horrifying to see. And whether or not they think that that's it or not, or if they may come across some shiny bauble that looks amazing, this gorgeous Noglamir looking necklace. Is that it? No, I want the goblin ears.
Yeah, so they're on the lookout, and hopefully they're not chasing down a red herring or grabbing the wrong thing and leaving. It's like, nope, this is what I wanted, and it's like, what? You mean we have to go all the way back? It's like, and then you find, how do they keep coming back? It's like it's like cockroaches. It's like you just, you think you got them all, but no, you don't.
Where are they respawning from? Where's the respawn point?
Where's the code in this game? Yeah. Let me do no clipping. All kinds of cheat codes or whatever is what your players will want. But like video game logic, it's just every time you leave, there's goblins waiting for you when you come back.
They're gonna respawn. If you go 2 screens over, they're gonna be back when you come back.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So Zaxibus wants the players to go and retrieve his fallen friend's necklace, which he doesn't provide the full details.
No, he just says it's a gold chain, but you'll know it when you see it.
And really, it's a bunch of goblin ears, and that's what he
It's
wants.
a bunch of goblin ears.
So the players successfully storm the stronghold. They retrieve the item that they're supposed to get, and they make their way back to Prickly
Yep.
Pete's and present this to Zaxibus. What's going to be the reward for the party?
He's going to give them a choice. He said, listen, that's an amazing, amazing gesture. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. This means so much to me. You can't even imagine. I'm willing to offer you either 300 gold, nice lump of gold, or a lifetime membership to the Prickly Pete's Mug Club. That is your choice.
Okay. Yeah, and it depends on, whether they plan on making this community seaside town
Seashell Town, yeah.
like a base of operations, and they could operate out of Prickly Pete's and, be able to have their dedicated mugs and stuff, or, take the lump sum and go.
It's absolutely your choice. Seashell Town's it's a nice little town. We have commerce. We have an adventuring guild. We have Prickly Pete speaks for itself. I don't have to say anything more about that. We have opportunity here. We are a growth society. We are ready to have more people come in and help build what Seashell Town can be. If you want to be a part of that, we got a place on our wall for you with a stein with your name on it.
Is there any one particular reward that Zaxibus is trying to push them towards,
Oh, he
however
would push
subtle
them.
that may be?
Oh no, he wants them in the mug club for sure.
Hmm.
He's like, if you're gonna take the time to go up and find this necklace for them, you are a friend for life. And and like you might even get a few full free pulls from the draft spigot there.
Okay.
You never know. Like if you went and did that, you might get a few free drinks for that. And
Yeah.
if you sit and listen to his stories, he'll definitely buy at least one round.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So there are definite benefits to
There are
joining this mug club.
perks.
There are perks.
I mean, and other than that, if you ever need a wizard to come on your journeys with you, I mean, Zaxibus is a level 15 wizard, so it's straight wizard.
Okay.
So he has done well in his craft, and he can do some damage. So
And because he's so well read, his wizard spell book is probably full of
it's
nearly
pretty
every spell
thick.
you could need.
It's a thick book. I'm not gonna lie.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, no, good call there. But we also have to consider the opposite, the consequence of what's going to happen
Oh,
if you fail in the quest or you refuse Zaxibus outright and you say, "No thanks. I'm
oh,
not going to do this."
yeah. That's a shame. That's a very big shame. In fact, that earns you a place on the Prickly Pete's wall of shame.
Ooh.
We will have. So because Prickly Pete's is such a fine establishment. We do have artists on staff that would come draw your likeness and put it on the wall of shame in Prickly Pete's. So just as if you were at Buffalo Wild Wings and couldn't finish all 12 of the mega super hot wings, and you went up on the wall of shame, this is also just like that. Shame on
Hmm.
you. You call yourself an adventurer. And then
Oh,
anytime you
okay.
come anywhere near Prickly Pete's, he would just ridicule you and cast. He'd have one of his bard friends cast. Oh shoot,
Vicious mockery.
vicious mockery as much as they possibly can.
Hopefully without turning it into a full-fledged. Well, he's a level 15 wizard, so he probably would have no qualms about getting into a fight in his bar in his own home
Oh,
turf.
he would have Bigby's hand scoop you out and immediately throw you outside of the premises. Bigby
Hmm.
is my bouncer.
Okay. All right. The wall of shame. Yeah. Okay. So not just for people who skip out on their bar tabs, but adventurers who
Yeah.
don't live up to
If
the prospect of being adventurers.
if you claim to be an adventurer, if you're cutting your teeth, if you're worth your salt, and you come in and someone says, "Hey, I've got a quest for you. I've got something that needs to be done," and you tell him no, I think that's worse than trying and failing, personally.
Is there a difference with trying and failing? Like maybe this
If
necklace
you
gets destroyed or something?
say, oh, that's disappointing. That's disappointing. If you do it, you get a few, may get a round or two for free, but you don't get the payment.
Mm.
If you try and like and you're overwhelmed, at that point, that's when Zaxibus says, "Hey, there's no shame in grinding. It's okay. Just go down here, down to the beach. There's some crabs, and grind for a couple levels, and then go try again."
Mm. Oh man, yeah. It's like I don't know what's worse, ending up on the wall of shame or being told that like a bunch of goblins are too much for you.
Well, it's not just goblins in the Goblin Stronghold, but that's what it was
Oh.
known as. It was known as Goblin Stronghold. Zaxibus will regale you with tales of goblins and trolls and undead, like vampires, that were leading this entire thing. So it was more than goblins. Whether or not
Okay.
Zaxibus is, depending on how many rounds in Zaxibus is, it'll get worse and worse every time he tells the story. So,
Okay. So hopefully this is not a kind of NPC that you would deploy for a low level party, or is it one that you would deploy for a low level party, especially if he's more into his cups and he's I don't know, is it more of a thing that he's telling taller and taller tales of more dangerous foes waiting there, or he's just remembering of like, oh yeah, and then there was a vampire. Oh yeah, and then there was a
oh
stone golem.
yeah, oh about that. Here's the thing with Zaxibus, and as a DM, this is the fun part about Zaxibus, because the more he gets into his cups, the more he embellishes.
Mm.
You don't really know what's true and what's not. So, as a DM, you can put him out there to your players, and I mean, you never know really what you're gonna get. You could have him be completely stone sober and saying, "Hey, listen, this is the place. We ran into, back then there was a lot of goblins, but we cleared that out. It should be fine. It's just a simple go in there, grab it, come on back, and you can fill it with whatever you want." But the more he
Mhm.
talks, and the more if you're sitting there drinking with him, and the more he drinks, and the more he talks, and the more he kind of ups the ante a little bit, that can be
Mm.
a lot of fun, because at that point it's like, what do the players expect, and how much do you play into that? So that can be a
Right.
lot of fun as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so we've learned more about this quest and what we need to go do. Are
Sure.
there any optional questions that you feel like would unlock further insights into Zaxibus as a character, or is Zaxibus pretty well fleshed out, you think?
Zaxibus is pretty easy to play. He's very intelligent, but he's got his vices. He owns and runs a brewery, so he enjoys getting into his cups. He's not going to be shy about that. Every night he's down there having a few drinks and mingling with the townsfolk. So he's flirtatious, as we know,
Mm.
and apparently wears his heart on his sleeve. Because he'll fall in love at the drop of a hat, apparently. But he's also quick tempered. If things don't go his way, he may get a little frustrated with that, and he might start to get a little sharp tongued.
Mm.
So keep that in mind. But if he's staying at the pub, if he's not traveling with you, that's not really going to be too much of a concern. If he is traveling with you, he like I said, he's very much the shoot first kind of guy. So if he
Mm.
thinks he's getting into a situation where he or his party are in danger, he's not going to ask questions about it. Like, he usually travels with a cleric, so he'll take someone out first if he has to, and then revive them if need be.
Just a yeah, it's kind of like a well, it's like a darker. I don't know about darker, but like a more action gritty version of Lord of the Rings. Of like, oh, we're the little hobbits going on our adventure, and Gandalf's with us, and Gandalf is just like zap, zap, blammo, blammo, and the hobbits are just horrified of like, what? We were just talking to that person. It's like, ah, we don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like level 1 stuff. I'm level 15. We don't have to worry about that.
I just assume everyone's out to get me.
So then a little bit of paranoia and stuff like that, or just the
I don't know if it's paranoia, but it's definitely on the verge of. It's more just, don't take chances if you don't have to. That's how he lived to 15th level. He
I
doesn't
see.
take those chances.
There we go. All right. Well, it sounds like we've learned quite a bit about Zaxibus today, and I think it's time to throw him into a random encounter. This random encounter is brought to you by my sponsor, Zencastr. Zencastr came into my life when I didn't think I would need it, but now I definitely need it with trying to raise a family and keep the podcast episodes flowing and all that stuff, and not trying to keep myself awake for all hours of the night trying to get these episodes edited. Thanks to Dane and Benjamin over at Dispel Magic showing me this service, I was hooked and I decided to become a paying member so I could get access to all these awesome tools with editing and getting these great episodes to you. So it is so easy and super easy now to record a podcast with Zencastr. You log into your browser and you start recording a high quality podcast right away. You could record studio quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen, knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. A hard sell. On that point alone, I would, I've been podcasting for a couple of years now. That is amazing. So that is a great selling point of this service. You can sound your best. Have you ever worried what you might sound like on a podcast? With Zencastr's post-production process, it makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes the ums and ahs as you click on that feature in the post-production settings, and in your recordings, it's going to remove those awkward pauses and conversations too with the click of a button. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with a click of a button. It really is that easy. It's all in one. If you have thought about podcasting before and realized that you need a lot of different tools and services, those days are done. With Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform, you can create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and all other major podcast destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SIDEKQPodcast, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Again, the website, zencastr.com/pricing. Use the code SIDEKQPodcast and get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. Thank you so much to the sponsor, and back to the podcast. All right, so now is the part of the show where we are in the random encounter. This is where we do some role play, a scene, a vignette of the NPC that's been brought to us today. So the question I have for you, I think you're going to do an amazing job of being Zaxibus, but the question becomes, who am I going to be in the scene? Am I going to be one of my adventuring characters that's going to get the mission from Zaxibus to go retrieve the necklace? Is it just a slice of life inside Prickly Pete's, and we're hearing Zaxibus just kind of like having a back and forth with one of his coworkers, or just a regular of the bar, or something? Or are we taking a flashback into his past? So I don't know. Like, what kind of scene are you interested in showcasing Zaxibus off in today?
Let's take a trip right into Prickly Pete's. As you enter Prickly Pete's, you've got the saloon doors at the outside that kick in, and as you walk in, there are tables, round tables, probably a dozen or so to your left and right. Far off on the right side of the room is a stage with you have a roll as many dice as possible. You have an orc, you have a pixie, you have a tiefling, and you have a Goliath. Okay. All in some form of band, playing some music. They're having fun. So it's a jaunty tune. It's lively in here right now. There's at one of the tables is a group of people playing cards. There are another people over at another table that seem to be rolling some type of a dice game, having a good time. to your straight ahead of you, you see the bar. It is a long, dark wooden mahogany bar with a bright brass pole right along the edge for you to rest against. On the left wall, if you look to your left, on the far wall is a shelf after shelf after shelf of steins, all decorated ornately and some inscribed with various names. Some spots on the shelves are empty, and you'll see people sitting at tables with their own special steins, and they're drinking them and enjoying themselves. And as you enter, you see at the bar, behind the bar, just kind of like taking a look at what's going on. There's a woman with a blue do-rag on her head. She picks up a few regular glass mugs and wipes them out and sets them back down, returns around and pours one from one of the kegs and sets it on the bar and slides it down to one of the patrons. And as it slides down, you see it passes past a man in a bright yellow cloak. It's a yellow cloak with very bright red piping that runs around the edges. He's got sandy blonde hair that kind of is brushed back, and a very neat trimmed beard that kind of points a little bit off of his chin. And he has a stein in front of him as well. That's a little more ornate than the other steins that you see on the wall. The filigree is all golden, and it almost seems to sparkle, and the sparkle moves as you look at it, and as the light changes, it seems to kind of shimmer and adjust with it. But you see him pick it up and take a big slug out of it, set it down, turn around and says, "Ha ha! Welcome, my friend."
Well, this is an interesting quandary, because it's like, who do I just randomly pick one of my characters, or in the spirit of you with your table there, are you able to roll me like I feel like I should be a lady, but it's like what kind of race and class should I be? Do you have something there
Oh,
that you could roll for me?
sure.
We'll introduce a new character.
Sure, why not? All right. We'll go race 9. All right. You were a dwarf.
Ooh, okay, a dwarven lady.
Okay.
Okay, very nice.
Dwarven lady. And just for fun, on a class. Let me go back here. Move to the next table. Okay. So you are a bard.
Ooh, okay. I don't have a bard yet. From the cast of characters. Okay. Ooh. Now I have to think of a name. What is a good name for a dwarven bard lady? And she definitely has I know for sure she's clean faced, because in my thinking of like the lady dwarves grow beards just like men. But if they're single, and they're not married, or they're just ready to mingle, they just tend to keep clean shaven faces to more easily
Okay.
attract studly dwarves and stuff like that.
All right. You want a random female name?
Sure, let's go
Let's
for it. In the
go.
spirit of random, let's have it carry us through.
All right, let's get a good one. These are very interesting names that they're giving me. Holy smokes.
Are you on fantasynamegenerator.com?
I am on Fantasy
I
Name
love that
Generator. I love
website.
this. I love this website. It's perfect. Uh okay. Ooh, I like this one. This is Abelin? Anbelin? I don't know. Anbelin Mithril Shaper.
Okay, Mithril Shaper. And then how did I spell the first name?
Anbelin. Annebelyn. Anbelin Mithril
Anne Mithril
Shaper.
Shaper. I love that name. Okay. Okay. What instrument should she be playing? I know most dwarves, most bards, they're like, oh, they play lutes and stuff like that. But I feel like she strikes me as like, Mithril Shaper. She's either a vocalist, or is she a percussionist?
Oh, no, yeah. She plays like a marimba.
She just has like a whole marimba thing set up that she brings with
Bag of
her.
holding. Bag of holding.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, no, if I'm going in
Pulls
the
it out.
spirit of it,
I would even say, um,
glockenspiel.
I was gonna say dulcimer, but
Oh, dulcimer would work too. Okay, maybe she's a dulcimer player. Okay, I like that. Mithril
okay,
shaper. Okay, so she comes in, clean faced, bright eyed. She, maybe perhaps fresh out of the home, and she's ready to make her way in the world, collecting myths and tale and story and song. So she looks over to the stage. That's where her attention first is
sure.
drawn before she acknowledges the greeting. So she sees the band playing, and so she's like impressed with that. And then she turns to see the bar owner, who greets her warmly, and so she'll bow low in a very ostentatious and flourishy sort of manner, and she'll say, "Hello and well met. Thank you so much for allowing me to grace your halls. What is this magical place?"
Oh, that's very kind of you. Yeah, this is Prickly Pete's. Thank you so much for being here.
Ah,
Uh,
prickly Pete's. And so
yeah, you can come
she's
and meet him if you want.
oh, I can. Yes, let's go. Let's go do that.
Yeah,
Accent
yeah,
still
Prickly
being
Pete.
worked out.
Prickly Pete is he was named the establishment's named after our horse, believe it or not.
She laughs very happily and excited at that. And so, yeah, she's ready to follow to learn more about this prickly Pete and listen and hear his tale and hear his songs about this.
So we'll do a little walk around the establishment. He'll point it out, says, where are my manners? Of course, hold on. Helga, please, a drink for our new friend. That'll be 5 silver.
Oh, okay. And she just yeah, I mean she's kind of swept up and she's just like, "Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah." She pulls out some 5 silver and she hands it to Helga.
and and she gets a stone mug, that's filled with one of the rotating brews that are going on right now. And as he slides it to her, he quickly like spins her around and starts walking around, pointing out the different things. There are trophies on the walls from past adventures and things like that. And if you actually look just to the left of the stage, there's actually a hole in the wall where you can like look right into Prickly Pete's stall. And every once in a
Ah.
while, he just kind of pokes his head into the bar room.
And then do people like offer their beers up to him to drink from, or they just bring
Oh,
his
he
mug
has no.
over?
Prickly Pete has his own stein as well. It's located right by the thing. Every once in a while, they come and they fill it up with beer for him, and he'll
Hmm.
whiskey for my men, beer for my horses, and
Anne
he'll
Boleyn
he'll
says,
he'll
"Oh yes, I know that song. I learned how to play it. Yes, I can play it quite well on my dulcimer."
so yeah, he points it around, and the funny thing about Prickly Pete, when you see this horse, it's a beaten down nag of a horse. It's just this poor thing has had a rough life, but man, they put this straw hat on this horse, gave him a cigar, and he looks happy as it can be.
Yeah, so she's wowed. She, happily accepts her drink. And so she's taking it all in, and so before her manners get the better of her, she says, "And you, sir, were so kind and inviting for me. Uh may I ask your name?"
Oh, of course. I'm Zaxibus. That's all you need to
Ah.
know, Zaxibus. I am one of the owners and proprietors here at Prickly Pete's. You look like to be a bit of a little bit green, but you wouldn't happen to be an adventurer, would you?
Oh, yes. Yes, I am. I just well, I'm kind of in a long line of siblings. Couldn't keep dad all down, and my mom is just so beautiful and all that, and well, not much for me to do back home, and not my prospects are, all the good men are already married off, and you
So you
know,
came to Urus Folly.
yes,
Why?
I did. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
this place. Backwater as it gets. That's what it is.
oh, well. Well, then, perhaps, being in somewhere new and not normally where I'm from might help broaden my perspectives of the world and learn new tall tales and adventures and grand
Hmm.
songs and tales and epics and things to bring back.
You want to hear grand tales? Well, I've had a tale or two in mind. And he points over to the other side of the bar, and there's these three grisly looking dwarves just kind of sitting at a table. Those three over there, they were my adventuring party back in the day. Now,
Oh,
we had some adventures. We took out moon horrors, we took out vampires, we slew an entire citadel of goblins.
oh,
Say, might I interest you in a little bit of a proposition?
oh. And what proposition would that be?
Years ago, my friends and I, we went up north here on Urst Valley. Up in the forests far north of here. There's a stronghold in this little cleft, little spit of mountains in the middle of the forest. Yes, you might do. We went up there and we put a stop to the raids and the murderous rampages that these goblins went on.
Hmm.
This stronghold filled with hundreds of goblins back then.
Oh.
Unfortunately, one of our companions fell. So, sad times for us, true. He carried with him a small trinket, uh, something that has some personal meaning to me. A gold chain. You'd know it when you see it.
Hmm.
If you could find it for me, bring it back. I would be well indebted to you.
And you see the look on her face, probably she's been walking a while. She maybe hasn't had any luck with any adventures. So the fact that, like, she stepped into this bar and she got her first adventure already out the gate, she's like, the things are on the up and up for her. And so, she's certainly happy to accept the quest, but, just the bard in her, sees those three dwarves back there, and she's like, "Oh, can we go talk to them? Can they tell us more about these goblins in this stronghold?"
Oh, certainly! Helga, another round! On her! Come on! And he starts walking her over towards the other dwarves.
Excellent. So yeah, she's gonna get all the info that she needs from these four. And then if she's given an opportunity to play on the stage, she'll do that, and then she'll see about trying to round out a party. So then that way they can all head north and they can go take on this goblin strongholds. And scene. So we did it. We made it through the random encounter with Zaxibus, and now our brand new dwarven bard, Anne Boleyn Mithril Shaper. Just a very cool name. I was gonna say I was wondering, like, oh, are we gonna hem and haw back and forth and figure out who's gonna like what kind of scene we're gonna do? Is there gonna be which of my characters already established brought in? But you just like dove for it, so I was like, all right, well, since we're doing some random stuff, yeah, let's figure out a new random
Sorry.
character. Oh no, that's fine. That's cool.
That's the DM in me that just kind of jumps at it. Sorry.
Yeah, we love it. I was gonna, yeah. It's like I was so happy and prepared to run through the whole list of characters that we have, but I'm so happy now that we have Anne Boleyn Mithril Shaper to add to the list, the roster now.
There we go.
So we'll get to
Awesome. Love
see
it.
which other adventures that she'll get to go on. Hopefully, the plot armor will protect her and she'll be able to be featured in future episodes and such. So
For sure.
yeah, so this is the final thoughts section of the show. So I always like to get, the feedback, the critique, and all that good stuff. Figure out how people, like their time in the random encounter, and then any other, thoughts, critiques, feedback, and all that good stuff. As I said.
No, I love it. This has actually been a lot of fun because first and foremost, being able to talk about, what I do with people, and so more people can hear about little game masters and stuff. It's always a great opportunity. It's always a great opportunity to meet other people in the community. So I love that the format is so fun. Being able to come up with more NPCs and just being able to just throw that out there so anybody can use them or whatever. And then I I doing the little scene at the end, I enjoy, because as much as I feel like I'm not the forever DM. I'm not, but I have been for a while. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, if there's opportunities for me to play, I want to jump at it. And this, just the two of us just kind of riffing back and forth. It's fun because that's still play for me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's still being able to just kind of jump in and create and voice something. And so I appreciate that very much.
Perfect. Yeah, and so before, we hang our hats and go to bed and pay our tabs and all that good stuff, I always like to leave the final moments of the podcast to the guest. So if there's any, good things that you want to plug right now, where can you be found on social media? What projects do we need to follow along with, and any other passions or causes that we need to be made aware of? Let us know.
Sure. Sure. So, again, I'm Randall Hampton. You can find me on social media just about anywhere. It's at Randall_Hampton, or just at Randall Hampton. One of those two. Um, from time to time, I do stream on Twitch. I'll do live drawing sessions where I'll hang out with people, draw some stuff, things like that. If you want to find out more about my art, or about little game masters or anything like that, go to randallhamptonart.com. That's my website. That's where you can find everything about me. That's where you can find out about Little Game Masters, about the children's book series, and anything we have going out right now. Here next month, I will be at PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia. I'll have a booth set up there, so you can come, and if you haven't picked up a copy of Little Game Masters yet, you can pick that up before Christmas. I'll have it there ready to go. We will have the rule book. We'll have the adventure book. We'll have the physical character cards that you can play with. We'll have the deck of items, which is our expansion, which is how we level up in our game. And then we have like the big collector's box, big beautiful box sets that you can pick up there as well. And even more, you can pick up. We made little like skinny minis, little 2D skinny minis of the pre-generated characters. So if you want to pick those up too, we have those available as well. So all the things that you need to be able to, besides dice. I don't make dice, but other than that, I got everything that you need to kind of sit down and start playing a game with your kids. And that's really what it's about. It's about getting the kids at the table, getting them to use their imagination, and just having that bonding time with your kids, telling stories, playing, being silly, and just enjoying the time that you have with them when they're at this age. I really encourage that. I really want you to have that opportunity, and I want you to just cherish it and love it and just enjoy it so much.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Hampton, thank you so much for your time and helping us to learn more and encourage us. And I can't wait to have you back on the podcast, making even more interesting NPCs.
Can't wait. Loved it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Sidekicks and Side Quests. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast through Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon Music, Overcast, or YouTube, or feel free to save the RSS feed to use the app or player of your choice. Visit our website, sidekicksandsidequests.com, for links, write-ups of the NPCs, and to learn more about the show and the guests who have been on it. To stay up to date and interact via social media, you can follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram/Threads, Twitter/X, and Reddit by searching for Side KQ Podcast. You can also find our small Discord community as well online. I would love to talk D&D and showcase your fan art, stories of how you used our NPCs, discussions, and commentary. And hey, if you'd like to hail the bard and send me a message, an email, you can do so by communicating with sidekicksandsidequests@gmail.com. To help this show be the resource it's meant to be, I ask that you leave a review on iTunes, 5 stars, please, to help spread the word and share our podcast with your friends and family. Whether you're a veteran player or an aspiring dungeon master, there's something here for everyone, and I want to hear about it. As mentioned in the NPC creations section of the podcast, I do in fact have a Patreon for Sidekicks and Sidequests. If you love this podcast and what we're trying to do here, I would appreciate it if you would just go to the website, patreon.com/sidekicks and sidequests. No matter your lifestyle expenses, we have wonderful rewards at every level of Patreon membership tier. Modest, comfortable, wealthy, and aristocratic accommodations await, and we welcome all patrons to the Levitating Platter. Seriously, your financial support allows for this passion project to continue to invest in itself through the tools that will take our production to the next level, as well as provide more content for our patrons and the community at large. Please consider supporting me on Patreon if you can.
Sidekicks and Sidequests is unofficial fan content permitted under the fan content policy.
Meaning I'm not approved or endorsed by Wizards.
Portions of the materials used are property of Wizards of the Coast.
Copyright Wizards of the Coast,
LLC.
Thank you for your support, and I'll see you at the pub next time.
Bar to rock on 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.